Hi everybody, it's Thomas here from Thomas Fitzgerald Photography. Welcome back to the channel, and this week I've brought a friend with me, and it's this massive cup of tea. Last week I did a video on a sort of hidden feature in Lightroom, and that was how you can use the histogram to quickly edit your images. And after I did that, I realized there's actually quite a few other features that not many people may know about, and I thought I would put them all together into a quick little video and show you now. So let's dive right into Lightroom and we'll take it from there. So number one, we have an image here and we've already done some edits to it. So let's just say you're working away on your photo, you're editing away. You may know some of this already, but if you want to quickly reset a parameter, you can just double click on the slider like so. However, you can also double click on the name and that will also reset the slider. But say for example you're doing something like say here with the tone curve, and you have a whole bunch of edits here and you want to reset all this in one go. All you have to do is double click on the word tone, like so. And as you can see, that's quickly reset everything. So this pretty much works anywhere there is a heading in the develop module. So for example, here in presence, I can just double click on that and it will reset the presence panel. Again, for the curve, so you can just double click on adjust, that will reset that, and so on and so forth. So for example, here in color grading, if I just double click on adjust, that will reset that. So it's kind of super useful if you want to quickly reset a whole bunch of parameters. This is how you do it. So one other thing, if you're editing with the histogram like I showed you in the previous video, if you say for example you're here in the middle and you're adjusting the exposure, you can also double click on the histogram and that will reset for whatever parameter you're editing. So in this case I was editing exposure, so I just double click on the exposure section of the histogram and it will reset it. Not confusing? No? Okay. So that's number one. So the second tip. So say you're working on an image and you've been doing things like you're trying various presets, so maybe something like this, and then you're tweaking away at it and you've done various different things and you're like, I don't really like that. I want to kind of go back to my history panel and just go back a few steps. So normally what you do is you'd have to scroll all the way down, and if you have loads of presets, this is kind of a pain, as you can see. But there is a quick way to do this. So you can quickly hide the preset panel by using the keyboard shortcut Command Control 1. And because that's hiding the presets, you can now quickly get to the history panel without having to scroll up and down. And again, if you want to go back, you just use the same keyboard shortcut again. And that reopens the presets panel. So it's a little thing, but it just saves you scrolling up and down a lot, and it's one of those things that can be a bit of a time saver. Okay, number three. Okay, so this one isn't really a hidden feature per se, as a kind of way of using an existing feature that you wouldn't quite think of. So I found this one out from a viewer. They were kind of asking, how do you do what I'm about to show you? And I was like, oh, I never thought of doing that. So let's say, for example, you have an image like this, and as you can see, the framing's not great on it. So what you would normally do is you would just grab your crop tool and maybe crop it to something like this, and then you could add a vignette to kind of hide the other flower or just erase it. So obviously this isn't a great example, but I'm just using it to show you the technique. So let me just undo all that. Okay, but say for example you needed, for whatever reason, to maintain the resolution. So if I turn on the info here, you can see it's 6000 by 4000. And say for example you were dropping it into a template in say something like InDesign or some other thing where you needed the resolution to be maintained, but you still wanted to crop it. So your choices are, you can crop it, then export it and scale it up, or there is actually a way to crop sort of in Lightroom without actually changing the resolution, and that is to use the transform panel. So if we go to the transform here, and we can scale our image up like so, and then we can just use our offsets. In fact, we can go right in. Let's get it even better than we had the last one. And you can do something like that. And if you look closely, you can see we still have it at 6,000 by 4,000. And we can go back and put our vignette back on, something like so. And there you have it. We have cropped the image. It's not really cropping, it's more reframing. The person who asked me about this in the first place was, their idea was to recreate how you would work with a traditional enlarger. Again, it's one of those things that you may never need to use, but if you do, now you know how to do it. Okay, number 4. Is that number 4? Are we on number 4? Number 4. So let's just take any old image and we shall do some quick edits here, like so. So one of the questions I used to get asked all the time in the early days of Lightroom, when it was still kind of a new concept, was how do I work with layers in Lightroom? And at the time it was like, you can't. But now there is a way. So this is something that you can do in Capture One straight out of the box without having to do any kind of trickery. But in Lightroom, there is still a way to do it. So if we pop over to the masking panel, and if you want to create a layer, basically what you want to do is create a completely filled mask. And to do that, the quickest way to do that is to go into the range and then go luminance range. Okay, so as it is, this isn't going to do anything, but what you need to do is click on this little slider here, just click on it once, and now it's created a completely filled mask. And now you can go ahead and adjust everything in your mask, and this effectively works kind of like a layer. So you can do something like this, so on and so on, maybe just the temperature or whatever. So you're probably saying to yourself, why would you even want to do this? It does have one big advantage, because once you've made a whole bunch of changes, you can actually control the amount of it. Or if you were, say, in something like Photoshop, this would be the opacity of the layer. So you can see here on my amount slider, I can just drag this up and down. And you can actually go past 100%, and this will kind of, it'll interpolate the values that you have and just make them even stronger. So something like this. So again, it's not really a hidden feature, but it's kind of a hack to use an existing feature. And you can add a whole bunch of layers using this technique. It works quite well. This is a very stereotypical Irish thing. I do drink coffee most of the time. It's just, I've had too much coffee today. Okay, where were we? Number 5. So, say for example, you are going through your recent shoot. This isn't a recent shoot, it's from ages ago. And you can tell by the sunny weather, which we haven't seen in nearly a month. So you're going through your shoot, and you come to an image you want, and you mark it 5-star, and so on, and you go to the next one, and go to 5 stars. And if you have a whole, like, hundreds of images, this can take a bit of time. So there's actually a way to speed this up. And it's going to sound silly, because it's a tiny little thing, but if you turn on the caps lock key on your keyboard, or you can hold down the shift, but you can just turn on the caps lock key. And so, say for example, you come to another image, and I want to mark this 5 stars. If you have the caps lock key or the shift key held down, and you hit 5, it automatically moves to the next image. So it just, I'm just marking images here. I wouldn't actually give these 5 stars. So again, it seems like one of those things that's like, why would you even want to do that? But if you're going through thousands of images, you're saving a step, and that can literally half the time that it takes you to go through stuff. So I actually found this out by accident earlier today when I was preparing for this video. So that's pretty much it. There are your 5 super quick tips, hidden features, little tricks, as it were. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the playlist of other Lightroom quick tips, and we shall see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.